What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Cranchus McBasketball here, and welcome to the Winnipeg Railfan's second Q&A answer video thingamajig. Man, it has been a hot minute since the last Q&A. 5 years. Yeah, that's crazy. Honestly, I'm so glad I haven't done one in a while because the first take of this video here ended up being 2 hours long. Like, I thought I'd redo it and just speed through the questions because I was just so tired of editing the audio down. I was only halfway through when I just decided to redo it. I was about an hour in. I was like, forget it. I'm just going to redo it and just speed run the questions. Anyways, without further ado, you've got questions I hopefully have an answer. We're going to do channel members first, then Instagram, then YouTube, and close out with Discord. So with that being said, if you would like your answers, what? Oh my gosh. Questions answered first. I'm so tired. If you like your answers questioned first, join the channel as a member. You'll get exclusive access to videos, a special role in the Discord server, updates on future projects and sneak peeks and stuff like that. Maybe more exclusive videos in the future. I'm still working on it. Follow me on Instagram for railfanning pics and whatnot. And join the Discord server if you want. Yeah, without further ado, let's get this gong show going. The Manitoba Railfan asks, am I your favorite Brandon Railfan? Well, of course, because like you're literally the only person in that city. What software / app do you use to make your thumbnails? I use Adobe Illustrator for the train art kind of stuff, but usually I just slap something together in Premiere Pro. Coke or Pepsi? Honestly, me personally, root beer solos, but Pepsi, I guess. Transit Fan 2022 asks, will you ever come to Vancouver? For sure, I would love to visit Vancouver one day. Shout out CN Hydro, love that meme page. What name sounds better, CPKC or CPKFC? Of course, the second option right there, Canadian Pacific, Kentucky Fried Children. Favorite horn? Honestly, I would have to go with the K5H or K5L. I like cop cars more than trains. That is awesome. I'm so proud of you. Did question 4 count as a question? Of course. BrainLaser3691 asks, how often do you get into the States to railfan? It feels like from 2016 to 2019, I went like once a year. But of course, you know, 2020, my passport expired, so couldn't go for a while. And then just recently, this past September, I went back to Grand Forks. Okay, moving on to Instagram, we got Railroad History Archives. What time does he arrive? There will be 3 Milwaukee Road? Of course, the Milwaukee Road. If you could resurrect any train, which one? I'd say the CN Supercontinental. What is your favorite color? I don't know, red, I guess? Shenandoah Valley Railfan asks, what's your favorite grunk locomotive? That's a good question. I would say Grand Trunk 5936. The grunk. Yeah! YYC Rails asks, how, bro, I said no personal questions. You know what? You are done, my guy. Once you come back to Winnipeg to visit, you're done. You're getting touched. Dolan's Dank Memes asks, favorite rappers? I would say, just off the top of my head, Ice Cube, Kendrick, and Tyler, the Creator. BNSF 296. Oh my, what? What even? Do you like men? Do you love men? All right. So this is a good question. If we're talking like Alan Fisher, the Armchair Urbanist, or Amtrak Guy 365, or Cowl Unit, or the other guys I've collabed with, I love those guys. Pause. Do you like women? Do you love women? Of course, women are great. Shout out to women, even though there's like probably 5 in the Railfan community that I could think of. Are you a foamer? Dude, I am like a massive foamer. And so are all of you. Everyone is a foamer in their own special way. Alright, moving on to YouTube finally. Thomas Edward IV asks, which Cajon past runaway is your favorite? I don't have any favorite train disasters. Which railroad is your favorite? I would say, hands down, BC Rail. Do you know about the is it the Talclan Railway? I'm not really sure. Out of every failed merger, which is your favorite? Definitely SPSF. I think Kodachrome is a fantastic paint scheme. You think the SPSF should have been approved? Honestly, I think it would have been a really fascinating railroad. If they had done some other stuff, like maybe merge with some other railroad, like, I don't know, the KCS or something like that, it would be kind of cool. We'd still have the BN, that's based. LML Railfan asks, do you play trains? I don't really. I mean, I played Trains 12 once, I didn't really like it. Opinion on Bocchi the Rock. I think it's a pretty cool anime. I haven't watched much of it yet, but hopefully I'll get back to... I just smacked my pop filter. I'll get back to watching it. Would you Railfan in Metro Vancouver? Definitely. I'd love to see West Coast Express and SRY and stuff like that. How much money have you spent to beat Rolling Line? I beat the game. I got all the DLCs. I won. It was $22, and that's it, because everything else on the community workshop is free. Do you play Roblox? Yeah, I actually got into Roblox again for the first time in years. I've been playing like Southline District or whatever it is. There's some pretty amazing train simulators in Roblox. Silas Train 486 asks, do you like Blippi? Man, I don't even know who Blippi is. Like, I think I've seen like a couple of his toys in Walmart, but that's about it. I have no idea. Green Bean Productions asks, what's your favorite items from Timmy's? I would say the chocolate chill and the maple donut or something like that. Best EMD? The best, hands down, is the SD40. What are W spots to Railfan and why? I'd say for Canada, Bayview Junction in Ontario, or just Toronto in general. And for the US, there's Folkestone, Georgia. There's, you know, just anywhere in Chicago, really, just around there, because every railroad you could think of goes there. I'm sure there's some in like SoCal that are pretty busy with like commuter stuff. Least favorite locomotives. Honestly, I'd say, you know, a box standard answer from a lot of people, a lot of foamers, is the Siemens Charger and the EMD F125. Another like underhated locomotive is the Gensets and the Green Goats. Those ugly things. The MN Railfan 227 asks, can you make model train videos? I could one day, like if I go to my museum's layout or something like that. What is your favorite model locomotive in your collection? Unfortunately, I don't have any model trains anymore. I got rid of a lot of them last year. But I did have a Burlington Northern GP35 that was pretty well detailed. It was pretty cool. Do you watch NASCAR? I used to as a kid when I was like super into cars, but I haven't watched it in a while. Do you believe in our Lord and Savior Hunter Harrison? Yes, I get on my knees and thank him every morning when I get up for ruining the North American railroading. 22NC Railfan 23 asks, your favorite New York Central locomotive? I would say there's this E unit that's preserved, and it's pretty cool. Also, favorite heritage from CSX now that they've added a few more. I would say my top favorite, even though it's one of the earlier ones with the ugly fade, is 1973, the chassis system unit. The European Railfan asks, what do you hate the most about Canada? I mean, if this was like 2019, 2020, when I was like overly political for no reason, I would say the Prime Minister, because he's gotta go. He's just been doing nothing for 9 years. But I would say, like, currently, the lack of attention that passenger rail in this country gets. Maple syrup or French fries? I'd have to go with French fries, because you can't really eat maple syrup. What do you think of Europe? I don't usually think of Europe, honestly. English or Spanish? Alright, everyone, whoever moves first is... No, I'm just kidding. Can we get another episode of the parody engines of Amtrak? I'll think about it. I have some plans in the future for it, but they're kind of on the back burner right now. Mirasome Railfan, I guess, asks, what is the best diesel locomotive pre-2000? I would say the GP9. Your favorite heritage/special unit? Definitely Canadian Pacific 3084. Favorite Mario character? Honestly, I'm pretty basic. I would just say Mario. Favorite Sonic character? Now, I'm more into Sonic than I am Mario, so I would say, honestly, Knuckles. What do you think of Miratoa and Samai? I didn't know what these were at first, but then I looked them up, and they're the Tokyo Olympic mascots. I think they're pretty cool. Some of the Olympic mascots over the years have been pretty cool. Eleanor B1 Class 1415 asks, name 3 locomotives outside of America. Not a question, name them. Okay, Victorian Railways A Class, Indian Railways WDM1, and the A4 Mallard, I guess. I don't know. Are you an SD fan or a GP enjoyer? Definitely an SD fan. What's your opinion on GEVOs? Now, I know a lot of rail fans are just, oh, GEVOs are so lame. But I really like the first generation GEVOs. Like from like 2005 or whatever. Those original ones. They're pretty cool. If you could house any scrapped/stored locomotive in your house forever, pretend it fits, which one would you choose? I think preserving a Grand Trunk Western F3 would have been pretty cool. What's your favorite song? Honestly, I couldn't give you a top favorite song of all time. But I guess just some top favorites are Private Eyes by Hall & Oates, In Bloom by Nirvana, and I guess Even Flow by Pearl Jam. Diamond Master 20 asks, if you could bring back any abandoned railway line, which one would you? I would bring back the Canada Southern throughout, like Windsor, St. Thomas, Buffalo. You know, that line seemed really cool, and I think it would be pretty useful today. Chassis system or Conrail? Hands down, chassis system. What is your favorite era of railroading? I would say the early to mid 1970s. Brian Schlipper Jr. 4894 asks, what is your least favorite GE model from any train? I would say, honestly, I know it's a cult classic in the railfan community, but the BQ23-7, I just can't get behind the design of the cab. It's just really weird looking. What inspired you to do a comedy of Engines of Amtrak? Man, I don't know what I was smoking in 2018, but I really don't know anymore. Do you happen to have a reaction to where a man from Oregon was arrested for causing a UP train to go off the rails? Was it Sean B? What is your honest opinion on making memes nowadays? I guess make sure they're a good blend of funny and offensive. No, I'm just kidding. CEN System asks, funnest memory when railfanning? Oh, that's tough because I've been, railfanning a lot in the past few years, and I've had a lot of fun with the local Fulmer buddies. So I couldn't really give a specific fun day. Ever plan to go railfanning in the US? One day I hope to go back down there because, there's a lot of cool trains down there. Coab? I don't know. What are you doing? Bro, elite reference, History in the Dark. At least 4 terabytes, man. At least. Hunt Official 1776 asks, what's your opinion on PSR? I think it has been the greatest achievement in the railroading, like the history of railroading. It's boosted quarterly earnings and profits and made the shareholders just beyond happy. I'm just kidding, it sucks. CN or CP? I would say Canadian Pacific. You ever hear of or listen to Gordon Lightfoot? Yes, I've heard of and listened to a little bit of Gordon Lightfoot, not that much, but yeah, I've heard of a couple of his songs. Trainman3985 asks, CN or CP? Now, I just said CP, but 2000s, like late 2000s CN was pretty awesome. So let's go with late 2000s CN. Favorite Canadian steam locomotive? I would say the 444 Jubilees, the old Canadian Pacific steamers. Favorite American steam locomotive? I would say the DMIR Yellowstones. PC or SPSF? Penn Central was definitely one of the railroads of all time, but I would have to go with SPSF. Out of all the videos you've made, which one is your favorite and least favorite? Okay, I'd say my favorite, like me personally, is the 2019 Decade Rewind. It was just all like fun memories of, being trackside or hanging out with friends and whatnot, up until that point from like 2010 to 2019. So I really look back on that video fondly. Least favorite, definitely one of the early 2018 commentary videos, like the top 15 SD40-2s or whatever. I hate those videos so much. PensyFam19, my man. Favorite Canadian exclusive class of locomotives? I would say the General Motors GMD1. CN or CP? I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of these CN or CP questions, but we're just gonna stick with CP. Favorite Hall & Oates song? I honestly, like, if this was a few years ago, I would say Private Eyes, but honestly, Alley Cats is another favorite of mine from one of their older albums. Will the top 10 CP SD40-2 videos be re-uploaded or remastered? I can't believe that's how you found out about this channel. That's crazy. I really don't like acknowledging those videos' existence, but we'll see. We'll see. Mayday, 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 alert! While he was thinking of what he could ask for a fifth question, he found out that Montreal could Thanos snap their commuter rail services by replacing the French word, and French word commuter lines with buses. Everybody panic. What is your opinion on the above statement? Now, me personally, since it's Quebec and Montreal, I don't give a Champion Hall Productions 3672 asks, Me bomboclat! Why do you like Blaze the Cat? I don't know, she's a pretty cool character, and Sonic Rush is one of my favorite modern Sonic games. Nah, I'd win. NS Trainfan YT asks, what's the best American steam engine out there in your opinion? Honestly, I would say Strasbourg 89. I know it's a Canadian national steam engine, but it's in the States, so I guess it counts. Bonnet Productions asks, are you the Winnipeg Railfan? Unfortunately, no, I am a skinwalker. Harrison of Colorado 8886 asks, least favorite diesel locomotive? That's a good question. I'm not really a big fan of the BL2. If you were in charge of VIA and given $100 billion to improve it, what would you do? I would put that funding towards just services outside of the Windsor corridor, like the Ocean, the Canadian, all the other regional trains. They need better, just more service, more frequent service, I guess, and new cars, I guess. Favorite anime/animes? I haven't really watched a lot of anime recently, but one that comes to mind is Brand New Animal. SP Railfan 4449 asks, if there was a YouTube Yapping Hall of Fame, who would you induct? Honestly, all of the guys I've collabed with in the past, we are all just major yapaholics. If you could bring back any extinct locomotive, which one would it be? I think having one of the Norfolk and Western Y6Bs around would be pretty cool. If you could make a full-length diss song about CPKFC, would it be a rap diss or a country diss? Ooh, that's tough. Rap disses hit hard, but country disses are pretty solid too, but I'm not really a big fan of country, so I'm gonna have to go with rap. If you could collab with any Railfan YouTuber that you haven't collabed with yet, who would it be? That's a good question. I know I'm gonna leave somebody out and they're gonna be so cheesed, but I'd say off the top of my head that I could just think of right now, when I could barely think because it's like, midnight, I would say BNSF 1458 and Thunderbolt 1000. Who is the biggest foamer of all time? That is a great question. I don't know if there is a biggest foamer of all time because everybody's a foamer. Erie Railfan 3977 asks, what is your favorite EMD GP unit? Honestly, I really like the EMD GP30. What is your favorite wheel arrangement? I would say the 484. Are you always going to name yourself the Winnipeg Railfan? Yes, I'm sticking with the TWR name, and if you follow this channel in 2020 and 2021 or something like that, I tried to change it a few times and it just backfired so hard, so we're sticking with the Winnipeg Railfan for now. Out of all the choices for the CPKFC scheme, which one would you choose? Honestly, I really didn't like any of them, but if I had to choose, I'd pick probably option 3. If CPKFC asked you to design a paint scheme for their engines, what would it look like? Honestly, I saw this rendition from somewhere online of a Milwaukee Road Hiawatha engine concept kind of thing, and it was really cool. I really liked it. CSX Railfan 38 asks, do you think SPSF would have actually worked as a merger if it got approved? I think there's ways they could have made it work, like sell off some trackage or merge with another railroad to expand their network or whatever. If you had the power to bring back any scrapped locomotive, which would it be? Honestly, I know a lot of people would say Grand Trunk 5629, but a couple years ago there was these units that got scrapped that were actually pretty much preserved. They're old, like Canadian Pacific Fairbanks Morse units that were sitting around. They couldn't get proper funding to go to a good home and they got scrapped. Favorite CP paint scheme? I think it's a fairly obvious answer because I'm a massive multi-mark foamer, but the original 1968 large multi-mark. What do you think of the Minecraft movie trailer? Honestly, I really wish that more video games were just more video game movies, were just animated, like, you know, how they did with the Super Mario Bros. Movie. If they did that with Sonic, you know, Pokemon, Minecraft, of course, I think they'd make way more money. Xbox or PlayStation? PlayStations are cool, but I've always grown up an Xbox kid, so I'm gonna have to go with Xbox. Genesis Railfan 1507 asks, does CN paint look peak on an F40? I think it would. I've seen a Photoshop here and there of CN's zebra stripes on an F40, and they look pretty cool. How would you fix CN 3115 BC rail scheme slightly? I would slightly fix it by making it two-tone green, the most based BC rail scheme. Thoughts on BC Rail's short-lived electric line? I think the Tumbler Ridge line was super cool. What are your 5 steam locomotives in Canada you want returned to operation? I would say CP5931, the big Selkirk, CP3101, the Northern, CN6218, CN6060, CP2860, and I guess maybe Northern Alberta 73, and maybe Ontario Northland 701. I think it's more than 5, but still, there you go. Are you a Misty Island? I am, definitely. I am Crash, Guy, and other guy. I forgot their names. I haven't watched the movie since it came out, pretty much. Laptop Charger 2014 asks, what's your opinion on Amtrak Guy 365? Oh boy, don't even get me started on this No, I'm just kidding. He's a very, very talented railfan YouTuber. His video editing skills are insane. His graphic arts have improved over the years, and back when I was friends with him, he was a pretty ghoul. Yeah, he's a pretty ghoul, alright. Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. And, you know, shout out to him and his friends for being there throughout the first year of the pandemic. You know, like Mid-Kits, Santa Fe 669, Mountain Ridge Films, CNSD75I, all those wonderful motherfuckers. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, there were some good homies back in the day. I'm grateful for them for being there throughout hard times, you know, during the pandemic when you couldn't really see anybody in person. So I had them to talk to on Discord, and yeah, good times. So yeah, Amtrak Guy is definitely, Amtrak Chan 365 is definitely one of the ghouls of all time. What's your favorite locomotive? I would say, like, all-time favorite, the MLW C424. Ricky BNSF asks, would you rather return 5629 or 6325 back to Steam? I would really say both, but 5629, I feel like if it wasn't scrapped, it could have had a long career in the Steam excursion program. I don't know what I'm trying to say. What's your favorite fallen flag? That is a good question, because there's so many out there that I love, like, you know, Chessie, BN, the Grunk, Sioux Line, that's another one, Milwaukee Road, D&H. What's your favorite US state to railfan? Honestly, Chicago is a oh my gosh. I just said Chicago is a state. I need to go to bed, honestly. Illinois, sorry. I am so cooked. Anyways, what? Oh yeah, there we are. UP Big Boy versus UP Challengers. Who is better? I think the Big Boys are cool, but I would probably go with the Challenger. What do you use to draw trains in some of your thumbnails? I use Adobe Illustrator 2022. Stockton Subber asks, favorite livery on a cylindrical hopper? I would say hands down the CP Rail Multimark. Do you think Progress Rail made EMD drink expired soy milk? That is a elite reference. I'm too tired to even remember where that's from. It's probably one of the Engines of Amtrak videos, but yes, absolutely. BNSF Railfan 01 asks, favorite Railfan meme? Definitely Metro 210. What's your favorite CN unit on the Iron Range? Bessemer and Lake Erie 906. Favorite heritage / special interest unit? Another favorite would be CN 3115. Most interesting train you've seen? That's a good question because I've seen a lot of trains. I would say probably the Loram Grail Grinder. Okay, Loram Grail Grinder in action, actually grinding the rails. Least favorite paint scheme? Honestly, a lot of people would think I'd say CPKC, which is probably it's up there. But I would say CSX YN3. It's such a downgrade from YN2. Devious Diesel QC asks, what's your favorite Thomas the Tank Engine character? I would say probably Thomas. It's a pretty basic answer, I know. What's your favorite locomotive? I guess another favorite would be the MLW RS18. CSX 7580 asks, what's your favorite fast food place and why? Honestly, for Canada, we have the same restaurants you guys have in the States. So I would say either, honestly, a tie between Culver's and Chick-fil-A. Tony the Tanuki asks, are you going to continue with the Engines of Amtrak series? Honestly, I am not sure. I've kind of moved on from doing that series, but we'll see. What inspired you to start YouTube? Well, of course, Amtrak Guy is another big inspiration for making commentary videos and whatnot, but I guess some other local rail fans in Winnipeg back in 2010, 11, 12 inspired me to start filming trains more and start my own YouTube channel eventually. Why did you have that image of Wolfie Chew in your Engines of Amtrak thumbnails? I don't know, man. I was like one of those edgy teenagers, so I just put offensive, sus memes in my videos and whatnot and thought it was funny. But there must have been something controversial with Wolfie Chew at the time, but I really don't remember. Have you ever tried to model a train before? I used to model, I used to model. It sounds like I'm modeling. Yeah, I don't have any of my model trains anymore, really, but I used to have a layout. What's 9 plus 10? You stupid. No, I'm not. SR Fan 2601 asks, what's your favorite CSX heritage unit? I forgot the number. I think it's 1850. The New York Central one. That's another one of my favorites. Michigan Railfan 57 asks, favorite Railfan catch? That is a really good question. I don't have a specific favorite catch because I've caught so many cool things, especially in the past few years now. Favorite SD40-2 variant? I would say a tie between the CP Barnes and the tunnel motors. I think they're all pretty cool. Which Class 1 railroad has the best motive power in your opinion? If this was 2008, I would say Canadian National, but I think right now, for the amount of fallen flags, that they have laying around, I'd say BNSF. Favorite narrow gauge steam locomotive? I really couldn't tell you, but anything that the Newfoundland Railway used. Big Iron 2572 asks, what's the best and worst train sim you ever played? I really did not enjoy Trains 12, and I would say Rolling Line is probably my favorite. Cinephile Railroad 1993 asks, I know you like real trains. Does your interest extend to model trains? If so, what brand or scale? Definitely HO scale. It's probably the most popular. Although I did like N scale. And for brand, I'd say, nice voice crack, I would say, I guess, Rapido trains. What, if any, is your favorite movie, new or old, with trains in them or actually about trains? I'd say old movie from pre-2000, Silver Streak, and then post 2000 I'd say Unstoppable, probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Who besides yourself are your absolute favorite YouTubers that cover a similar topic to your own? I'd say all of the guys I've collabed with, like Cowl Unit, Penzi Fan, BNSF 1458 for sure. Channels like those. Oh, Distant Signal, Trains 21, V12 Productions. I heard you mention the famous SMT mainline once in a video. Have you ever actually met him? If so, how was it? I honestly have never actually interacted with SMT. It seems like he's a pretty nice guy, and he makes some pretty interesting model train content. I like trains a lot, but some people I've met just don't. In fact, someone once told me trains are boring. Why is that? Trains aren't for everyone, but if you really take a deep dive into the world of trains and how they work and everything, the history behind them, it's pretty interesting. Fallen Flag Foamer asks, when do you think the last CP painted will be repainted? I don't think they'll be repainting every unit for a long time. Hopefully by the time that happens, the name has reverted back to Canadian Pacific. Surfliner Railfan asks, do you like planes? I'm not huge into aviation, but they're pretty cool, I guess. Do you like Siemens Chargers? Honestly, some of the paint on the Chargers look pretty cool, like the Via ones. The paint scheme looks pretty cool. That's about it. I'm not really a big fan of the Chargers, honestly. Opinions on California high-speed rail. I think it is a neat concept, and it would be interesting to see that pan out, I guess. Happy Elephant Productions asks, do you like Norfolk Southern? Honestly, as they are right now, no, not really. Do you like the Norfolk Southern Heritage units? Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll take that last statement back. That's, I guess, the only thing about NS that I like. What do you think about my YouTube channel? It's good. You caught some pretty cool trains like the NS Sonic Bonnets. D.A. Alciden, I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry man. What do you think of British trains? I don't usually think of British trains, but I'm not really a huge fan. For someone who lives abroad, could you suggest any decent museum/railfan spotting places to go to? Definitely Chicagoland, there's so many trains around there. Or Toronto or Montreal. Expo Rail, actually, in Montreal is a fantastic museum. What is your favorite fallen Canadian railway? I would say the Northern Alberta Railways. If you had a time machine, where would you go to? Honestly, I would go back to like the early to mid 70s in Chicago, but I'd honestly maybe just stay here in Winnipeg because there's a lot of cool railway stuff in Winnipeg back in the 70s. Please don't ever be history in the dark. I will try my best not to. Luke Loves Trains Mr. Railyard asks, do you like Hasbin Hotel, Hell of a Boss, or Lackadaisy? Honestly, I couldn't really get into the first two. I watched a little bit of them, and they're not for me. But Lackadaisy was actually pretty interesting. It's well animated, and found it pretty entertaining. I'm really just, Luna. Do I need to say more? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, how could I forget? 50K! What is your favorite steam locomotive? I would say Canadian Pacific 2929. Did you get to chat with the CP Steam guys in Winnipeg? I did not. My friend, the Western Canadian Railfan, is trying to restore the Canadian Pacific Selkirk 5931 in Calgary, Alberta. What would be your advice for him? I would say just spread the word, get a fundraiser going, raise as much money as you can, and get that thing back on the rails. Run it on the main line. Do you think CP will run 2816 again in the future, but like on the holiday train or doing some local trips? I think that would be a pretty cool sight to see on the holiday train. Maple Syrup Railfan asks, Realive Lakeline Railway 911 or scrap Prairie Dog 4138? Honestly, Prairie Dog 4138, despite it being a Grunk GP9, is pretty overrated. Get that RS18 back up and running. Its horn is just beautiful. Would you bring back 2010s era CP and why? Of course. I miss the foreign power, the cool locomotives that were still around. Who is the Winnipeg Railfan? Winnipeg Railfan is the who? The Winnipeg Railfan died a few years ago. I'm just a skinwalker that's just doing his videos now. A Royal Official YT asks, what's your opinion on the California State Railroad Museum? I think it's cool, and any railroad museum is cool. It's good to preserve history. What do you think of the Grand Trunk Western? I love the Grunk so much. One of my favorite railroads of all time. What do you think that a Californian watches your Kids? What? My kids? What kids? Oh, my vids. Yes, I think it's great. Lionel J. Hutz asks, thoughts on the McGrody Jaeger trade? Yes, amen. Which dead musician would you resurrect? Honestly, that is a good question. There's a ton of talented musicians that are no longer among us. Let's just go with Kurt Cobain. 90s square tag or early 2000s round tag K5LA? I would say probably the square tag. Would you consider railfanning in Michigan, assuming that you would visit the US? I would definitely love to come to Michigan one day and railfan. There's some pretty cool spots in the state. Do you prefer the round headlight casings you usually see on the rebuilt GE Genesis locomotives instead of their original home plate headlight casings? I don't know. That is a really good question, and I've never really looked that close on the Genesis engines. That Train Guy 1095 asks, best Canadian railway? Hands down, BC Rail. Canadian narrow gauge supremacy? Hell yeah, man. I miss the Newfoundland Railway. I wish that was still around. Favorite CN locomotive from the present or the past? Oh, that's a good question. Let's just go with the SD60F. Ryland Jones 2011 asks, why did you change your profile picture? I don't know, man. I was kind of getting tired of the old one. What is your favorite locomotive? Another favorite would be the EMD SD90 Mac. Rebecca Holgate 8166 asks, what's your favorite subdivision to railfan on? I really like the CP Keewatin subdivision on like the Ontario border, pretty much like very far west Ontario and like very far east Manitoba. What is your favorite locomotive? Another favorite would be the MLW RS23. How many passenger trains have you ridden on? I have been on a tourist train a few times, but that's about it. I've never been on like a long distance or commuter route or anything like that. Proto Sheep asks, are you the Junkler? Why so serious? BNSF 6022 asks, what is your opinion on the new Ferromex paint job? I think it's not great. It's not bad, but it's not as good as the old one. Matt the Alerter 125 asks, favorite diesel locomotive? I guess another favorite would be the GE AC44. Also favorite steamy choo-choo thing, I don't know. Another favorite would be, I guess, Prairie Dog Central number 3. It's a 440. Favorite recordings of yours? I think I mentioned the 2019 Decade Rewind kind of thing, but I guess another favorite would be the first Engines of Amtrak video, even though it kind of sucks. Other hobbies other than railfanning? I would say, I guess, art a little bit, gaming, cycling. Favorite game character? Honestly, Minecraft Steve. Amtrak 816 asks, what is the worst railroad? That is a good question. All the class 1s suck, but I'd say Norfolk Southern, probably. Isaiah's Trains asks, opinions on Wisconsin Southern. They are a pretty neat railroad. The K Lucky Boys 5252 asks, what is your favorite fallen flag? Grand Trunk Western, I guess. What is your favorite railroad to own an F unit? Probably Canadian Pacific. What is your favorite short line? Honestly, I really like shooting the Lake Line Railway just north of Winnipeg, but I guess another one would be the Ontario Southland. Skulls Productions asks, in relation to your nostalgic Thomas YouTube video series, what do you think of my old videos from way back when, and do you think I'm improving from such nowadays? I will have to rewatch some of your videos, but yes, I am sure you're improving from all the way back then. What is your favorite design of the Amtrak diesels? I would definitely go with the F40PH, although the SDP40F is probably a close second. Favorite old style steam engine? Definitely the 440. George Carlin, Alec Baldwin, or Michael Brandon? I grew up with Michael Brandon, but maybe George Carlin. Out of all the nostalgic Thomas videos you talked about so far, which do you like the most? I honestly would have to go with Thomas Blows' Stack. Mr. Asian Pie asks, what is your favorite and least favorite railroad in North America? Favorite would be, it's a tough one. I guess Ontario Northland, they're pretty cool. And least favorite, probably CN. Europe, I have no idea. And globally, I think Victorian Railways in Australia is pretty cool. The railroading in Australia is pretty cool. Texas SoCal Railfan 9021 asks, Any thoughts on Union Pacific? Sean B. They gotta stop harassing Sean B. EMD or GE? If so, what's your favorite? Favorite EMD, definitely the SD40. Favorite GE, I guess another one would be the Dash 840 CM. Have you ever foamed? Yes, the first time I saw a Norfolk Southern locomotive in Canada, I foamed like crazy. Jack Trains 332 asks, what is your favorite railroad? Another favorite of mine, Florida East Coast is pretty cool. Would you ever do another video of the engines of Amtrak? I'll have to think about it. Would you ever visit Wisconsin in the near future or Minnesota? I would love to come visit Minnesota and Wisconsin. They've got some pretty cool railroad scenery and action and whatnot. Joseph Cavanaro asks, do you like Love Live? I watched a little bit of it and it was pretty cool. Will you do an Engines of Amtrak on the jet train? I'm not sure what jet train, like the New York Central one or the one from Thomas. Maple Leaf or Adirondack? Definitely the Maple Leaf. If you could bring back any closed station, which would it be? I honestly would go with the St. Thomas, Ontario station on the old Canada Southern. Have you seen The Amazing Digital Circus? I watched, like, I guess the first episode of it or something like that. It was interesting. Andrew the Rocket City Railfan 4014 asks, what do you want to do for a living? I would definitely love to see YouTube pan out, but I don't know. Indiana Railfan asks, what's your favorite heritage unit? I guess another favorite of mine would be NS 1066. Randy Dobson 1863 says, hi, the Winnipeg Railfan, and it's Randy, and I like yours video is cool, and thanks, the Winnipeg Railfan and Randy. Dude, I love Randy so much, this guy. Rails of the Bay asks, which railroad do you want gone? CN. Which railroad do you want to bring back? The DT and I. Favorite railfanning location in your area? I really don't have one anymore. Amtrak or Via? Me personally, Via. Electric trains or diesel trains? Some electrics are cool, some of them, but honestly diesel trains. Mr. Trainman 05J asks, who's worse, Sebastian DeYoung or Capital City Rail Productions? I would say Capital City because he actually put crews' lives at risk. What is your profile picture? It is a picture of my Sonic fan character from like grade 5 or something like that, as close as I could get, like a modern rendition of him. Have you rode any Amtrak trains? I have never even seen one in person. BNSF Jivo Productions asks, favorite non-Canadian fallen flag railroads? Norfolk and Western is really cool. Of course, New York Central. Opinions on the SD60 Mac? I think it would have been interesting if the BN got some. Cats or dogs? Hands down, every day, cats. Favorite soda? Mug Root Beer, definitely. Help 2024 asks, seen a BNSF train that didn't have a GEVO or the locomotive wasn't a GEVO? Yes, I've seen technically BNSF trains with like SD75s. Rebuilt or bought new locomotives? I would say rebuilt, like if they keep the overall feel of the original locomotive, like the AC44 C6Ms or the SD40-3s. Have you spotted a foamer while railfanning? Yes, I've spotted myself and some other local railfans. What's the best camera you use for railfanning? I would say the Sony ZV-1 or the Sony HX400. Those are pretty solid video cameras. Shortest intermodal train you've seen? I saw a yard transfer of just intermodal cars with a GMD1 and a GP9. J Dioxide asks, do you think North American commuter rail is something that places without commuter rail could learn from? Yes, definitely. Favorite North American freight railroad? Another cool one is the Quebec North Shore and Labrador. Stadler, Flirt, or diesel trains? I don't know much about Caltrain, but diesels for sure. EMU or diesel? Again, diesel. Orange on Green Productions asks, CP or CN? Definitely, me personally, CP. If you can go anywhere, where would you go? I would go to Chicago. What's the best foreign power? That I've seen, I saw a KCS Grey Ghost leading the CN Grand Trunk Heritage Unit. That was pretty cool. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Absolutely not. Angry Railfan 4501 asks, what are your thoughts on every steam locomotive? Some look better than others, that's all I have to say. Favorite video game? Probably the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Via or Amtrak, which one is better? They both have their strengths and weaknesses, honestly. Are you a oh my lord. What's your street name? My name Lil T, man. Joey the Cat 7482 asks, if you could restore any steam engine, which would it be? Honestly, CP2860. They gotta get that guy running again. If you were chosen to be able to go back in time and prevent any locomotive from being scrapped, which would you save? No, standard answer would be the Grand Trunk 5629, but I would say one of the CP articulated steam engines. Favorite electric engine? Honestly, I would say the Canadian Northern / CN Z1A. A guy named Not Aaron is mayonnaise. Oh, you want me to do it like Patrick? Is mayonnaise an instrument? Favorite liveries of all time? Definitely BNSF H1, CSX YN2, and CP Multimark. Any tips for finding hidden gems when rail fanning? I would definitely say check Google Maps. Favorite find when rail fanning? I'm not sure. That's a good question. What's better, Amtrak or VIA? Like I said earlier, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. Runt3132 asks, opinion on Southern Plains Railfan quitting railfanning and becoming a furry. Man, put some respect on that guy's name. He made some awesome commentary videos, and I'm glad he got the job that he wanted to and that he's pursuing a career in art. I talked to him before and he said he wouldn't consider himself a furry per se, but just more of a cartoonist. Cream soda versus regular soda. Definitely cream soda. Will you go to the States to railfan? Definitely, and I would love to come check out Nebraska. There's a lot of cool short lines down there. If you could see something in action that doesn't exist anymore, what would it be? Definitely the CN Via turbo trains. If you were to start a model railroad, what would you model? I almost started modeling BNSF Manitoba. It's like their Winnipeg short line kind of thing. Johnny London GK9GX asks, opinion on heritage locomotives or UP? I think they are pretty interesting takes on their fallen flag railroads. What is your favorite locomotive? Another favorite would be the, I guess, GP35. What is the most unique spot you've railfanned in? There's some really, really scenic spots out in eastern Manitoba that I love shooting at. Seasoning YT asks, what do you do after uploading a video? I cry myself to sleep and then I go draw Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just kind of relax and, get set up for the next video. What is your favorite thing about being a Canadian rail fan? I would say the diversity of scenery we have in this country. Trackside MB35 asks, are you a Sigma? What the Sigma? Kentucky Railfan 1 asks, what is your favorite heritage unit and why? I think I said CP3084 already, but I guess another one is CN102, their E9. Lake County Rails 2022 asks, which Metro Heritage / Special Interest unit is the best? Hands down, 211. Railhawk Racer 1911 asks, what's your favorite model railroad company? I honestly like Rapido, probably, or Bowser is pretty cool. What's your favorite CN locomotive? Definitely GP9RM 7221, rest in peace. Why no 210? Not yet, stay tuned. Bold Brick 1212 asks, what is your favorite bus? I'm not really into buses, but I guess the New Flyer D30LF. Owen Acaster asks, which of the 5 6-axle MLW M-liners would you say is your favorite? I would say the M630. Callum Nichols 7652 asks, what classes of diesel do you feel is underrated? Hands down, the MLW C424. Favorite rock / metal album? I would say probably In Utero by Nirvana. Favorite short line that isn't Genesee, Wyoming? Central Manitoba Railway. How many heritage units have you seen? I've seen all of CP's, including the legendary 7011. I've seen all of CN's except for the 2 switchers, and 1 UP, 1 NS, and 1 CSX unit. What places can you recommend for an up-and-coming railfan in the States and Canada to go to and see trains? I would definitely say anywhere in Chicago or Folkston, Georgia, Plant City, Florida, Bayview Junction in Ontario. Andre S. Plaz 8804 asks, what would happen if there was a DC to AC conversion B unit? Honestly, I think the world would end. What would you say about CPKC? Oh, you guys ruined a historic, iconic Canadian railroad. If you had a real train horn, what type would you get? Maybe a Leslie RS3L. If you had the opportunity to make your own custom HO scale paint job to a locomotive, what colors would you do? Definitely the CN redesign scheme. If you haven't seen that video yet, check it out. RU Sigma to 210. What? Bro, I'm not Baroness Anne. Amtrak P4242 asks, what's your favorite Canadian national paint scheme? I would honestly have to go with the Maple Leaf Green. Daniel HJ8EL asks, if MBTA or Amtrak wanted to electrify its main line from Boston, is it possible to electrify beyond Worcester far west to Springfield? I have no idea. I'm sure it's possible. Is it possible to electrify south of Washington to Richmond? I'm sure if they put up the infrastructure and funding, it might be possible. What's your favorite rap or song? Probably It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube. Initial thoughts on Brightline extending to Tampa to have top operating speeds to 150 miles an hour. I think it's pretty cool that they're expanding their service. Which 4-line should NJ Transit commuter rail electrify its own line and why? I have no idea about anything New Jersey Transit related. I show speed. Bro, I said 5 questions. Luke Cisse Railfan asks, favorite locomotive from GE? I guess another favorite would be the Dash 7s. What is your favorite CSX heritage unit? I think I said the Chessie one, the New York Central one. What else? The C&O one is pretty cool. Favorite rail fanning spot? Honestly, I really don't have a definitive favorite anymore, really. The Goofy Railfanner asks, will you ever come to Atlanta because it gets so many goodies? I would definitely love to come visit Atlanta one day. RA the Good Railfanner 888 asks, if you were to save at least one Dash 8, which would it be? Definitely BC Rail 4609. What if CN kept their Dash 8s in service until 2027? Then World War III would start. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be great. What if CN didn't have that much EMD engines and focused more on GE locomotives? That is literally what they're doing nowadays. It's literally just almost all GEs. If you could play a game all day, which would it be? I would say Minecraft. What's your favorite color? Another favorite would be blue, I guess. Deanna Kinsey 2888 asks, do you have a model layout? Not anymore. I got rid of a lot of my model train stuff. Can you do more videos on Mexican railroading? I think it'd be an interesting topic, I guess. Why is your profile picture at the time of writing this a oh my lord. He's not. I'm gonna crash out. He's not a... It's as close as I could get to a raccoon looking guy in Picru. I can't help it if it looks a little zesty. I don't know. The Numbers That Are Odd asks, do you like the Chessie? I love everything Chessie system. You like the new documentary that Thunder posted? Yes, I liked it, and his videos have improved so much over the past few years. This guy is a real trooper. Definitely go subscribe to Thunderbolt. He's gone through some crazy things in his personal life recently, and I'm glad that he's still here soldiering through it. If you did a train crash documentary series, what story would you do? I would probably start out with a parody or something like that, but I've always wanted to do a video on the 1947 Dugald, Manitoba train crash. Train Dude asks, what's your favorite rail fanning spot? Unfortunately, I really don't have a definitive favorite spot. There's a lot of cool spots around Manitoba that I go to or have been to, but I couldn't really give you a definitive answer for a favorite. Alrighty, that wraps up YouTube, and now we're moving on to our final category, which is Discord. Hopin111 asks, what is your opinion of printer? Yes, absolutely. CSXT L655 asks, what is your favorite engine from NS? I would say maybe 4001, the Sonic Bonnet kind of thing. Illinois Central Man asks, how could you improve Canada and the US's passenger services? I would definitely make them more affordable and more frequent. Norfolk Shitshow asks, would you buy a 20-pound bag of candy corn? I don't know why, but I don't mind candy corn, honestly. Would you do a mukbang of 20 pounds of candy corn? No, absolutely not. I'm not Nikocado. Craziest lash up? That is a good question. I've seen a lot of cool lash ups recently, and I really couldn't give you one that comes to mind, honestly. Sasscat asks, What is your opinion on these stupid startups? I have no idea what you're talking about, like with startups. The engineer, gaming railfan or collab when? We already did on the CN paint scheme video, so definitely go check that out. CP2860 Foamer asks, CN or CP? Hands down, CP. Favorite BC rail locomotive? I would have to go with the RS-18. Thoughts on the Royal Hudson 2860 excursion? I really wish that someday that engine gets back into service. Are trains edible? I'm not sure. Ask Buccaneer Railfanning, he eats SD40s. Do you collect any model train stuff? I don't anymore, but I used to for a while. Sascat again asks, opinion on passenger rebuilds. I think some of them are interesting. I think one of my favorites is it's got an F45 cab and a GP40 body kind of thing. I forgot what it's called. 10 years in the joint made you would you rather spend 1 second in France or 1 second in Quebec? Oh my lord. That is a tough question because they both are terrible. No, I'm just kidding. Probably Quebec because they have Expo Rail at least. Rail Fantastic asks, what's your favorite camera? Honestly, my favorite that I've used is probably the Sony ZV-1. Sascat again asks, opinion on the Peak Railroad Conrail. I am not really a big fan of Conrail, but they're interesting, I guess. I don't know. It's not one of my favorites. Chassis System GP40-2 asks, if you were the CEO of Via Rail, how would you improve the railway? I would privatize ourselves so we can make better deals with the other private railways. The Snowman asks, what's your favorite train horn? I really like the K3L, the K5L. Another one is the hybrid K5LA. Those things are beautiful. Toff asks, the Milwaukee Road or Grand Trunk? Oh, that's a tough one because they're both cool railroads, but I'm gonna have to go with the Grunk. Will you do an in-depth video on why CPKC sucks so bad? I'll think about it, but for now, I guess definitely check out the CPKC logo video I did a while ago now. CN Hydro, the legend. If you had to pick between reviving a CP/CN division, what would it be? Canada Southern would be pretty cool. The ENN is definitely another cool one. What class 1s would you have wanted to merge outside of CPKC? Honestly, I think CP and CSX back in the day would have been a really insane merger. Another one, of course, would be the SPSF. If you could pick a Canadian diesel for preservation that wasn't or yet to be saved, what would it be? Definitely a turbo train. Least favorite paint scheme? Honestly, CSX YN3 was such a big downgrade from YN2. Is this loss? Absolutely, I love dead memes. Hard Time Foamer asks, will you go foam in another province? I would definitely love to go to BC, Alberta, back to Saskatchewan, it's pretty cool. And of course Ontario and like Nova Scotia is pretty cool. What's a spot you would suggest to other Manitoban foamers to go to? Definitely the town of Minnedosa. It's really scenic around there. Top 3 locomotives in Manitoba you like? Definitely Prairie Dog 1685, Lakeline 911, and GWWD number 200. Will you make a video based on abandoned railway tracks in Manitoba? I still have some plans to do videos on some abandoned rail lines in Winnipeg and Manitoba. What's the worst locomotive in Manitoba? Top 3. I would say CP2325, CP4441, and at the top, the worst, HLCX 4224, that nasty thing. Metro North Iced Tea says, I stole your cheese along with Pensifan 19s. No, give us burger cheese, man, that's not fair. Opinions on the Genesis. I love the Sega Genesis. My favorite is the Model 1, of course, from the early 90s. The K5CA horns garbage. Yes, absolutely. I don't like the new VIA horns. That A-Line Railfan Productions asks, would you ever railfan the CSX Fitzgerald subdivision and go to Waycross? I would definitely love to visit Waycross one day and just Georgia in general, I guess. KCS 4053 asks, if 3115 and 3069 were on the same train, would you go out for it? Absolutely, that would be so cool. Do you like the BNSF Heritage Unit concepts? I think there are some fantastic concept ideas of what BNSF should do for Heritage Units, because their 30th anniversary is coming up really soon. They should definitely consider doing something. Do you like or hate BC Rail blue standard cabs? I don't hate any BC Rail locomotives, man. I think all of them are pretty cool. Comedy Gold asks, which is your favorite CN cowl? I would say the original SD60F, the SD50AF. Those are pretty cool. Which would you call the most base railroad in Canada or the US that CN has? That's a good question. BC Rail is pretty cool. Of course, the Grand Trunk Western is legendary, but what else? EJ&E is pretty neat. Were you disappointed when Southern Plains Railfan left us? A little bit. I was pretty sad that we won't be getting many, if at all, any new commentary videos, but I'm glad he got the job in the industry that he wanted to. What is the worst CN accident that you can think of? I'm not really sure. I know Hinton was really bad. Favorite things about you in Canada? That's a good question. CP Rail, I guess. Ironic Foamer asks, opinion on Via 8558. Yes, their RS10, their lone RS10. That's pretty cool. Do you think that CP should actually acknowledge the multi-mark rather than just ignoring it? Absolutely. I would love to see some representation from them from that iconic, innovative era in their history. Opinion on CN narrow gauge operations. I think the Newfoundland Railway was awesome. I'm so sad they got rid of it, but it's CN and they suck. What are some locomotives that you personally like that weren't saved? I would say the Grand Trunk Western U4s. I'm kind of sad that none of them exist. And I guess the BC Rail M630Ws. More model train videos? I don't know. We'll see. Crosby3 asks, thoughts on the railways of Atlantic Canada? I think they are pretty cool. Favorite MLW diesel? I know I said the C424, RS18, M630. Another favorite would be the M420. Thoughts on the Devco Railway? I think the Devco or Sydney Coal Railway is a pretty cool operation still. Wisconsin Man asks, opinion on Milwaukee? The city, I don't know, I've never been, but the road, Milwaukee Road, was a pretty cool railroad. CN2423, oh, Cowl Unit Productions, my man. The Grunk, absolutely, I love the Grunk. What is your favorite C40-8M? I guess CN2403, but another favorite would be, of course, BC Rail 4609. Shikanoko? Yes, absolutely, I love the Brain Rot anime. Many steam locomotive classes that are your favorite? I forgot what it's called specifically. I think it's Santa Fe type, but it's the CN210-2s, I believe. Which class 1 do you think is the least shit in modern day? That's a good question. I think CSX is doing a little better than they were before. Jack Carson's Railroad Videos asks, if you could bring back 3 fallen flag railroads, one from the US, one from Mexico, and one from Canada, which would they be? I would say for sure BC Rail in Canada. For the US, that's a good one. Maybe Conrail, I guess. Just get rid of Norfolk Southern and bring back Conrail. And from Mexico, definitely NDM. Rambling Railfan asks, what's your favorite TF2 class? I haven't played TF2 in years now, but I really like Scout. What's your opinion on the Green Line debacle? Yes, absolutely. I have no idea. What's your favorite CP steam locomotive? I think I mentioned the Jubilees, the 444s, but another one would be the non-streamlined Selkirks. Drewy asks, least favorite Class 1 railroad that runs throughout all 3 major North American countries. I think that question is set up for me to say CPKC, of course. Favorite ice cream flavor? Honestly, I like cookie dough. Pretty basic. Shout out when? Shout out now. Foo Fighters? Yes, they are pretty cool. Ricky G. Rail asks, how does it feel seeing more KCS locomotives in Canada since the merger? It was pretty cool at first, especially with the Grey Ghosts and stuff like that, but now it's kind of boring. Do you think that CPKFC will make heritage unit schemes in the future? I would love to see some representation of fallen flags from CP and KCS. Have you seen the TV show Rocky Mountain Railroad? I watched a little bit of it a while ago. Any bad experience from grumpy railroad workers while railfanning? Yeah, in the past few years I've had a few bad encounters, but it is what it is. I don't blame them. Sometimes us foamers can be nuisances while they're trying to do their job. Amtrak fan asks, what is your favorite heritage unit of all time? I would say probably, let's go with one of the CP Executive F units. Those are pretty cool. What is your least favorite heritage unit of all time? Least favorite? Oh, that's a good question. CN really dropped the ball with the Wisconsin Central unit. Can you come to Wisconsin? I don't know. If I have the funds to take a road trip down there, I would definitely love to visit one day. Shells asks, do you visit British Columbia? I've never visited before, but I would definitely love to. Do you play trains? I don't, actually. Opinion on Leopard 2. I didn't know what that was before, but it's a tank, and I'm not really big into tanks, but I guess it's cool. Why is there no North American locomotives in anime? I think in an anime called Galaxy Railways or something like that, there's the big boy. Opinion on Bocchi the Rock. I think it's a pretty cool anime. I haven't watched much of it, but I'm gonna get into it soon, I guess. And last but not least, we have Navid McCrazy. What are your thoughts on Dave Grohl from the Food Fighters trespassing on private railroad property? Yo, I gotta read this. This Facebook page is hilarious. See, I was not surprised some screamo death metal fan like Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters would cheat on his wife like Sleepy Joe cheated to win the election. So it's even less a surprise that this idiot with an E would trespass on private railroad property with his children. Clown emoji, angry emoji. Yes, David Growl. You may have gotten the best of your wife and been a sick sinner, but you will not get the best of the babies in blue and the Federal Railroad Administration. He. Bunch of emojis. Have fun in jail, spelled Jale. Trump Vans 2024. What the hell is this page, man? This is crazy. And they got like AI Dave Grohl and some random kids walking on like 30 million different rails. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious, man. And that wraps up the second Winnipeg Railfan Q&A. We've gotten through the entirety of the questions. I'm sorry if I skipped out on any questions. Hopefully I'll get to them in the next Q&A. But now I gotta start editing all of this crap together. And I just remembered why I haven't done one in a long time, because Q&As, like anyone who does them knows, this takes forever to edit. Like, this audio is already an hour long, so we're gonna see how long I could, or how short I could get it. So, yeah, with that being said, if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, join the channel as a member, join the Discord server, follow me on Instagram for more train photos and whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So for now, this is the Winnipeg Railfan saying, eat ass, smoke grass, sled fast, sled gang.